All right. Hello again. And thank you for joining me today to discuss why we should care about indoor air quality. My name is Krysta Dudich, and I am the Indoor Air Quality Sales Representative for the Sauermann Group. I came to Sauermann about 2 years ago with a background in chemistry. Before we get started, if you are having any issues with video or audio, please click the help button in the top right of the screen. If you have any questions, please use the questions tab on the right side panel, and I will answer any questions either as I see them or at the end. You are more than welcome to reach out to me directly for any further discussions using my contact information on the screen. So you may not be familiar with the Sauermann Group. So who are we? The Sauermann Group has over 40 years of experience in designing, manufacturing, and servicing instrumentation for the HVAC, industrial, vehicle exhaust, indoor air quality, and environmental industries. In the United States, we design, manufacture, and service out of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. We at the Sauermann Group take great pride in our application knowledge and experience, as well as our production and service centers, which are NIST traceable. Today, in addition to learning why we should care about air quality, we will learn what indoor air quality actually is, what the common indoor concerns are, what the acceptable ranges of indoor pollutants are. We will dive into VOC specifically, then the effects and sources of air pollutants, indoor temperature, indoor humidity, outdoor air or ventilation, the phenomenon sick building syndrome, and again, we do have designated time for questions at the end, but please ask your questions as they occur, as I will answer as I notice. So, before you can care about something, you've got to understand it, right? What is indoor air quality? Indoor air quality refers to the air quality within and around buildings and structures, especially as it relates to the health and comfort of building occupants. We typically define the quality of the air, indoor air quality, by the concentrations of pollutants and thermal conditions indoors that affect the health and performance of building occupants. So, why should we, as your everyday average building occupants, care about it? The air quality we're talking about is all around us. That is, the quality of air in your home, your school, your office, your gym, any building environment really, anywhere indoors. The potential impact of indoor air quality on human health can be noteworthy for several reasons. Those listed here are complementary of the EPA. Indoor air pollution is the number 4 environmental threat in the USA. This is among overpopulation, climate change, and deforestation. The average American spends about 90% of their time indoors. And as if that doesn't sound bad enough, people who are often most susceptible to the adverse effects of pollution, such as the very young, older adults, or people with pre-existing conditions, tend to spend even more time indoors. Indoor air pollutant levels can be 2 to 5 times higher than outdoor levels, even 1,000 times greater during certain activities. The indoor concentrations have increased in recent decades, not only because of our increased use of synthetic building materials, personal care products, pesticides, and household cleaners, but also because of energy-efficient building construction, or tight buildings. The idea of a tight building is when said building lacks sufficient mechanical ventilation to ensure adequate air exchange. With this said, we will get into more description on these tight buildings a little later. So based on these facts from the EPA, it seems I'm not the only one who spends most of my time indoors. The air that we breathe while indoors for 90% of our time can put us at risk for lifelong health problems. The pollutants can be anything from chemicals and gases to living organisms like mold. Some common air concerns include both pollutant and environmental factors, such as carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, formaldehyde specifically, ozone, nitrogen oxides, temperature, humidity, and air circulation or outdoor air ventilation. These are only a few of the most common air concerns, but they are all concerns that we at Sauermann can help you monitor and detect. So, diving right into these pollutants, what concentration should we be on the lookout for? Well, I've put a chart here for some levels to keep an eye out for. I'm happy to pass this information along, so don't worry about jotting everything down. Because we don't have many laws or real regulations in place regarding indoor air quality, the guidelines here come from a multitude of sites, including the EPA, OSHA, ASHRAE, a couple others, as well as some application feedback and real-life testing. Once you reach the caution levels of these pollutants, adverse effects begin to take place. Carbon monoxide will bring you fatigue, headache, disorientation, nausea, and can even cause death in higher concentrations. You can see the VOC guidelines here, but I do want to go off on a short tangent about VOCs. Here, you can see the scientific definition. Volatile organic compounds, VOCs, are organic chemical compounds whose composition makes it possible for them to evaporate under normal indoor atmospheric conditions. If you couldn't tell before you got that information, VOCs are gases. These gases are present in high concentrations indoors as compared to outdoors and emitted from thousands of different sources. Many VOCs are known or suspected carcinogens, meaning these airborne compounds can cause cancer in both humans and animals. The common sources of VOCs include cleansers, disinfectants, air fresheners, your cosmetics, your carpets, even your dry cleaning. All of these products and more release organic compounds while you are using them, and to some degree, even when they are stored through off-gassing. Molds produce VOCs. You know that new car smell? That's VOCs. VOCs in your water supply can even enter your air when you use your water, such as during showering or cooking. The key symptoms associated with exposure to VOCs include eye, nose, and throat irritation, loss of coordination, visual disorders, memory impairment, damage to your liver, kidney, central nervous system, and again, because some VOCs are proven to be carcinogenic, you can be at risk for cancer just from breathing your indoor air. So, back to our list of common pollutants. Although formaldehyde is a VOC, it is typically measured independently. Something that makes our company unique is that we are one of the only manufacturers that measure both VOCs and formaldehyde simultaneously and independently. Formaldehyde is specifically used in hundreds of household products and industries and is one VOC of great concern. Formaldehyde exposure, very similar to general VOC exposure, can lead to eye, nose, and throat irritation, dermatitis, headaches, dizziness, coughing, and specifically chronic upper respiratory infections. This specific VOC has also been proven to cause cancer. Ground level ozone exposure can lead to irritation to your lung tissue, wheezing, coughing, lung or chest pain, and very much damaging to your lungs. Oxygens or oxides of nitrogen, such as NO, NO2, can impair lung function, increase chance of respiratory illnesses, and infections. Most of the symptoms of exposure are very similar to those of common illnesses. This is particularly dangerous because any deadly or irreversible effects may not be recognized until it is too late to take action. A few more common pollutants listed here. So we all know we exhale carbon dioxide. We drink carbon dioxide in our sparkling beverages. So you may be thinking, is carbon dioxide really a pollutant? At high levels, carbon dioxide can cause headaches, dizziness, nausea, drowsiness, as well as significant reduction in decision-making performance. It is also actually very helpful to monitor carbon dioxide. This is because the readings or levels of CO2 can be used to evaluate the amount of ventilation and general comfort. Inadequate ventilation causes a buildup of carbon dioxide until properly ventilated. Again, I will supply these guidelines to anyone who's interested, so don't worry about jotting them down before we move on. So, the extent and severity of the effects of air pollutants on your health depends on a few factors, including what the contaminant is, how much of it there is, how long you are exposed, and if you have any pre-existing medical conditions. It is important to note that the effects from indoor air pollutants can be experienced immediately, but some effects may not be experienced until years later. Some immediate effects are irritation of the mucous membrane, such as eye, nose, throat, headaches, difficulty concentrating, and fatigue. Even more seriously, some long-term effects are heart disease, increased susceptibility to chronic obstructive lung diseases, including asthma and allergies, cancer, carbon monoxide poisoning, and a decrease in lung growth. It is extremely crucial to stay on top of your indoor air quality. Our children, our parents, and our pets are extremely more susceptible to pollutants than us or the average adult. If problems arise, we really want to know before it is too late. It's easier to stay on top of pollutants once you know where they come from. Most pollutants affecting indoor air quality come from sources inside, although some do originate outdoors. Indoor sources include combustion sources such as tobacco, fuel-burning appliances, and fireplaces can release harmful combustion byproducts such as carbon monoxide directly into your indoor environment. For example, an improperly adjusted gas stove can emit significantly more carbon monoxide than one that is properly adjusted. Building materials are also potential sources, whether through degrading, such as asbestos fibers being released from building insulation, or from new materials, such as formaldehyde leaking out of pressed wood products. Among many others, the use of some cleaning products, paints, insecticides, and cosmetics introduce pollutants directly into your indoor air. Outdoor air pollutants, such as pesticides or exhaust gas, can enter buildings through your ventilation systems, open windows, and even cracks in your structures. Really, any unvented or malfunctioning appliance or improperly used product can and most likely will release higher and sometimes dangerous levels of pollutants indoors. So moving on to the environmental factors affecting indoor air quality. Temperatures are most important to be regulated for occupant comfort and productivity. OSHA has standardized that appropriate or ideal temperatures are those in which at least 80% of occupants believe to be acceptable. As you can see here, low temperatures can cause discomfort to your extremities, shivering, dry skin, and a decrease in performance and alertness. On the other hand, high temperatures can cause fatigue, irritability, sweating, headaches, and again, a decrease in performance and alertness. Additionally, very important to note about high temperatures, the rate at which certain chemicals are released from certain materials, such as the formaldehyde out of pressed wood that we just talked about, is accelerated by heat. So maintaining a moderate temperature can greatly help reduce air pollutants caused by off-gassing. Humidity is not only important for occupancy comfort. Low humidity causes static electricity, skin irritation, dry eyes, upper respiratory illnesses, and high humidity produces biological pollutants. Biological pollutants are living organisms such as molds, mildews, and dust mites. These pollutants can grow because of water-damaged surfaces and materials, water vapor from cooking and showering, air conditioning systems, and even your mattresses and carpets. Exposure to mold and mildew caused by humidity can cause infections, allergic reactions, and toxic effects. Additionally, high humidity, similar to high temperatures, can increase the rate at which chemicals are released from materials, again, such as formaldehyde out of pressed wood. Maintaining a moderate humidity and temperature can reduce air pollutants caused by off-gassing. OSHA has given the same standard to humidity as temperature. So again, ideal and appropriate humidity levels are those in which at least 80% of occupants believe to be acceptable. The ideal humidity for pollutant growth and comfort is between 30 to 60%, regardless of where the starting humidity is. Ideally, humidity should be kept around 50%. So now you're thinking, I can lose productivity or even worse, get sick just from the temperature and humidity kept in my house. And these pollutants can seemingly come from anywhere at any time. Temperature, humidity, and pollutants are all extremely important to keep on top of. The best way to do so is with a portable monitor. Our monitors at Sauermann are completely customizable. You can see the options here. They give you readings instantaneously with their continuous sample pump. And these instruments are as simple as turn on and go, making it extremely easy to spot check your air at any time. These monitors do have options for all the gases highlighted here today, as well as temperature and humidity. So the last thing mentioned here, outdoor air and ventilation. Ventilation is the supply of outdoor air to a building. Outdoor air can enter and leave a building by infiltration, natural ventilation, or mechanical ventilation. During infiltration, outdoor air makes its way into buildings through openings and cracks in your walls, your floors, your ceilings, and specifically around windows and doors. Opening those windows and doors gives you natural ventilation. The air movement associated with these two types of ventilation is caused by the indoor and outdoor air temperature differences and by wind. Mechanical ventilation is the intentional exchange of indoor air with fresh outdoor air at a controlled rate using fans. This includes everything from outdoor vented fans that intermittently remove air from a single room, such as your bathroom, to complete air handling systems that use fans and ductwork to continuously remove indoor air and replace it with filtered and conditioned outdoor air. Ventilation is extremely important for indoor air quality. Specifically, it is important to ventilate while you are involved in short-term activities that can generate high levels of pollutants, such as painting, paint stripping, or cooking. It is important to carefully evaluate using ventilation to reduce indoor air pollutants where there may be outdoor sources of pollutants, such as smoke, nearby. The rate at which outdoor air replaces indoor air is described as the air exchange rate. When there is little infiltration, natural ventilation, or mechanical ventilation, the air exchange rate is low and pollutant levels can increase. This is a chart of typical air changes per hour based on room or location. As you can see, ventilation rates vary considerably from room to room and building to building. Because this rate depends entirely on the size of the room, there will never be an exact number per room. With this being said, the chart is helpful for a ballpark number, but the formula is required to accurately provide ventilation to a room. The influence of ventilation rates on occupant health and comfort will vary depending on features of the building, outdoor environment, and occupants. Throughout the normal range of ventilation rates, encountered in buildings, increased ventilation rates are on average associated with fewer adverse health effects and with superior work and school performance. The Berkeley lab performed a study that followed 162 classrooms for 2 years, and they found that the occupants of schools not only had higher grades, but also had lower rates of absence. So, sick building syndrome, briefly mentioned in regards to pollutants, why brought up now? A little history lesson here. When energy prices soared in the 1970s, there was a movement to make buildings tight to preserve heat in the winter and air conditioning in the summer, essentially to preserve costs. The cost they did not expect was that in some buildings, there was an increase of indoor pollution due to inadequate ventilation. The pollutants from those off-gassing building materials, together with the pollutants from household cleaners, paints, and all the others we discussed today, were trapped in some structures and built up to levels that caused symptoms in more than a few individuals. Sick building syndrome was the name that was given to this phenomenon. In short, sick building syndrome is used to describe a situation in which the occupants of a building experience acute health or comfort-related effects that seem to be linked directly to the time spent in the building. The complaints may be localized to a particular room or area, or may be widespread throughout an entire building. In all cases of sick building syndrome, no specific illness or cause can be identified, and most of the complainants report relief almost immediately after leaving the building. There are some cases when symptoms of a diagnosable illness are identified and are attributed directly to airborne building contaminants. This is known as building-related illness. With building-related illness, the complainants normally require prolonged recovery times after leaving the building. The World Health Organization suggests that up to 30% of new and remodeled buildings may be the subject of these complaints. Sick building syndrome and building-related illness are caused by inadequate ventilation, your thermal conditions, air pollutants, either from or just trapped indoors, and biological contaminants such as mold. So how can we make sure our buildings aren't making people sick? You'll need to test for a good air change rate. An airflow meter is an electric air balancing instrument primarily used to take direct air volume readings from air vents. Our model DBM 620 airflow meter is just this, but more portable. This is actually a brand new meter we released to allow you to easily take readings for airflow, velocity, temperature, relative humidity, and pressure at any time, virtually anywhere. The hood has an actual metric for air changes per hour, which is extremely time-saving. There are 5 different hood configurations to fit your different size vents, and they all come with an integrated flow straightener to give you greater accuracy. And those 5 different hoods are extremely easy to switch between, as they are integrated to the top frame. So it's just a matter of attaching the hood you want to your base. To make things even easier, that top frame is foldable. I do want to play a very short video here so you can actually see our patented foldable frame in action. And so, the small case here, you can see, all packed up, it is only 6 pounds, the hood and the case together. You can see the gentleman here standing that up, unfolding the patented frame, and you'll see him insert the rods. And it really is just as easy as 1, 2, 3. Myself, about 5'2", 100 pounds. I can get it up and actually have my first readings in less than a minute. The last thing I want to highlight is that the display is what you choose it to be. The app is available for both Android and Apple products, and in addition to easily seeing and sharing your data, the app allows you to select your specific vent or grid to further compensate for error. So you can see that's all done. Video here is about 50 seconds. The pricing is also extremely good on this as compared to the market, with the standard kit, everything, plus one standard 2x2 hood, selling for about 2,500 United States dollars, and the complete kit, everything and all 5 hood sizes, going for about 4,000 United States dollars. All right. And so, as a thank you for joining me today, we are running a special promotion for 10% off any customized indoor air quality monitor to easily monitor and spot check for pollutants, or the DBM 620 portable airflow hood to ensure you've got adequate ventilation anywhere. This saves you anywhere from 250 to 400 United States dollars on the airflow hood, and anywhere, we'll say up to 800 United States dollars on the air quality monitors. The AQ monitor pricing is not so straightforward as it is customized, so please reach out to me directly and I can either just give you pricing, or I'm more than happy to actually help you pick out the best configuration and the best model for your needs. Please mention code ICARE-IAQ when ordering, or simply email me the code and I'll be able to get you going with what you need. So, in conclusion, why do we care about indoor air quality? When we come in contact with toxins and pollutants, they can cause detrimental health effects. If not controlled, these pollutants can trigger the immune system and lead to allergies and asthma. These problems are worsened by inadequate airflow, temperature, and humidity levels indoors. Because the risk of airborne infectious diseases like the flu rises as outdoor air supply rates fall, poor ventilation compromises the health of building occupants. Improving ventilation, pollution, humidity, and temperature not only enhances the occupants' productivity, it makes them more comfortable as well. All right, so thank you for joining me, and I do want to go over any questions here. I do see my colleague has answered any questions. If you do want the presentation, please shoot me an email. I will put my email back up on the screen. And again, I am more than happy to discuss with you directly regarding your specific application and what is best for you. So please feel free to reach out to me directly. And it looks like there are no further questions. So thank you all for your attendance, and please look out for more invitations in the future.